Everybody, and welcome to another Friday morning Mortgage Coach Mastermind session. Every Friday, 9 o'clock, it's all about personal productivity, how to save time, how to get more hours out of the day, how to be a better leader to not only your team, but to yourself. So on today's call, you have me, Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach. My co-host of this Friday Mastermind is Todd Bookspan. What's up, Todd?
You know, I'm, as always, super excited to be here and sharing with the community.
Loving it, brother. Appreciate everything you do for the Mortgage Coach community. As two mentors on today's call, we have Jen Duplessis. Jen, good morning.
Good morning. Happy to be here. Can't wait to learn.
Me too, me too. And Jen, thanks for adding to the comments when I threw it out there yesterday on, hey, what are some topics for today? I
Absolutely.
love your topic, and we're going to jump into it in probably about no more than 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then Michelle Town. What's up, Michelle? We haven't had you the past couple of weeks. It's good to have you back.
It's great to have you guys. Sorry, my technology is all back on. I love it. Glad to be here.
Well, it's good to have you. And hey, it was awesome doing that Zillow call with you yesterday. Michelle and I had the honor. We were invited by Zillow, and I think they marketed that call to like 50,000 loan officers. And Michelle has a strategy. I think most of you know, if you've listened to the interviews we've done, the way that she uses Zillow and the way that she partners with agents is pretty unique and incredibly successful. So she was invited by Zillow to talk and be an expert about that. And I was invited to talk about conversion and Mortgage Coach. And we had an incredible call with hundreds of loan officers yesterday. That was fun. And you killed it as always, Michelle.
I'm so glad you did not tell me there were 50,000 loan officers on that call or being marketed, because I probably would have choked. But thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I know that, that it was recorded. And from what, I mean, I'd be surprised if thousands of loan officers don't watch it, but it was a great call. You absolutely represented our profession and Mortgage Coach really well. So anyways, that was fun. All right. So as everybody knows, this is a mastermind. The goal is to mastermind. Todd and I have been brainstorming on how can we get more participation for folks, because we both come from this philosophy that a mastermind is only as good as the people that come. If it's a great group of people that are experts, that are both humble and hungry, that is critical. And we always do. We look at the names of the people that come, and every time someone engages and asks a question, we're like, humble, hungry, great Mortgage Coach leaders. But it's also only as good as the participation. That means when we push out a survey, people respond. When we ask you to, vote on something on our Facebook page, people vote. And again, some of the contribution takes a little more creativity to actually write a post or write a thoughtful comment. But I just want to remind people, this call is only as good as the people that come, and we've got a great, amazing group, and the participation, which is invested. And Todd and I and the mentors all agree that we could raise the bar. You can raise the bar on how much you participate and how much you engage during these calls. So we're going to be pushing on you. We're going to try to do that, constructive tension, not kooky tension, but we are going to be pushing everybody on this call to participate in a deeper way. So Todd, anything you want to say to that before we get into a couple of the topics for today?
No, you just know I wholeheartedly believe in that. I think the more that we can get you all who are here, who are taking an hour out of your day to learn, just to comment in the question bar, to post on the Facebook page, and to raise your hand so we can empower you to speak, that's really awesome. And I'm still a little distracted by the number 50,000 loan officers. I didn't know that there were still that many left in the business, so that's awesome. And I can't wait to get a link to what you guys did there with Zillow. I can't wait to listen to it. So I'm excited, Michelle.
Yeah. Well, by the way, that's what Zillow told me. I said, what are we doing? When they invited us, we marketed it out to our database of loan officers. And so FYI, and I do believe them, but I don't know that that's the actual number, Tom.
Well, either way, it sounds, let's pretend it's 25,000 or 30 or 40,000. It's a great number. So I love where our industry's at right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like everybody to make sure you look at the screen, click on the screen because, by the way, Todd and I can tell that right now, 45% of you, we have your attention. That means you're logged into the screen and you're looking at the screen. Like if you have two screens and you're actually responding to email on one, we know that. Now, we don't know you're actually responding to email. By the way, it just jumped to 64%. So right now we can tell that 64% of the participants are looking at the screen. Now, some of you may not be logged in, but those of you that are responding to email on the other screen, take a look at what Todd has up here, because this is going to be your first chance to participate. So we've got two pending conversations going on, and we've got a new one that Jen kicked off, and I'm going to hand it off to Jen to kick that off. But one, we had the initiative of identifying one of the best gifts that a mortgage coach professional who is super productive, insanely productive, in fact, and is building clients for life, what type of gifts are they providing? And I think one thing that we've learned just from the comments in the thread, which, by the way, we posted that thread, we have over 23, like almost 25 comments. So for everybody that commented, you are doing exactly what Todd and I are asking you to do. You're participating, you're sharing. For anybody that has a great gifting strategy and you didn't comment, I'm looking at you. Share your gift. Now, if you're embarrassed of your gift and it's not a good gift, fine, don't comment because we're not looking for bad ideas. But if you have a great idea and a great gift and you didn't comment, then you're not giving back to this mastermind in a way that's going to serve you and everybody else. So based off the comments, we've got some great gifts, and then I organize them in a way that you all can vote. So I put in, what is your favorite client gift? Now, I didn't say closing gift because one thing that we've learned is that people, Dan Keller's a great example, they're doing gifts during the transaction. And I had a conversation with Tim Brahim. I was asking him, hey, Coach Tim, what are your clients doing with gifts? And he's like, well, hey, we've really spread out the budget on the closing gift throughout the transaction. And I'm like, would you mind coming and talking about it? And Tim's going to come and be a special guest. I can't remember the week, but there's a week next month where Tim is going to come and be a special guest, and talk about, gifting strategies. But for now, we have this poll pushed up here. Now, I may not have every gift listed. So I did create the permissions when I created this poll that if you want to add a gift to the poll, add a gift, give it a vote. But my goal is that by next week, we will be providing a document, and it will be in the order of priorities. The things that got the most votes will be at the top. The things that got the least votes will be at the bottom. And this will be a representation of this group. These are the gifts that we're giving. So if you would please, first of all, you could do it after the call or you could do it now. Please vote. And so I can see right now winning is giving them an Amazon Echo, which, Jen, thank you for the comment. Great idea. I'm not going to talk about it in detail today, but Mortgage Coach does have an app coming out in the Echo. I'm not going to tell you what it will do, but let me just put it this way. It'll probably give you more reasons to want to make giving an Echo to your family a great idea. But anybody that has an Echo will get more value. So I'm particularly digging that. Dan Keller's pizza gifts are up there, and custom doormats. Todd, anything you want to add to this particular topic before we move off of gifts and we jump on YouTube videos?
Well, I think what we have is a couple of different categories of gifts, right? You've got permanent fixtures, right? The Cutco knives, the doormats, the cutting boards, things that have your name on them and the client's name on them potentially that are going to be in their home forever. And then I think you've got the food gifts, right? So, the funny one is the fairy tale brownie one, which my team used to do and doesn't do anymore. I would tell you that my team members want it back because when we got surveys, they always said, yeah, your team was amazing and thank you for the brownies. So I think food gifts go a long way. So I really love the idea of the pizza parties because I think you're taking food to the next level. You actually made an experience for the client by when they're under stress and they're moving in and their kitchen's not unpacked and all of a sudden dinner arrives. I think that's that's pretty huge. And I kind of look forward to hearing, you know, I guess I'd love the commentary from folks. You know, you said that Tim Brahim is going to talk about how they're shifting their budget from a closing gift to throughout the transaction, because some of those are expensive gifts, right? Cutco knives aren't cheap. And so some of these things are kind of expensive. So I'm interested to see what people are spending, right? You highlighted a few weeks ago what the average value of a client in your database is. And so that'll be kind of a fun conversation if people are willing to share, you know, what they're investing. Because I don't think it has to be huge, but I think people probably are interested to hear on the gifts throughout for those of you who are doing it, and also really kind of what the budget looks like.
Yeah. So just to push a little bit more. So first of all, those of you that are adding comments, thank you. Those are great. What's up, Katie, Pastor, Trinidad? Good to have you on the call, Katie. But I also, if your gift is not mentioned in the poll and you think it should be in the poll, add it to the poll. Great, have it in comments, love it there, but also add it to the poll. You can add an option to the poll, and please vote. You know, for anybody on this call not to vote, I would just say is just not serving the group, and it's not serving you. So please go to Facebook, either do it now or do it after this call, and vote on what is your favorite gift. And if your favorite gift is not on here, please add it to the list. All right, so before we go into YouTube videos, I want to make sure we bring in Jen, because I think we can spend second half of the call on the YouTube videos. And Tim Lamb, if you're here, I would love to have you raise your hand so we can unmute you and bring you into the conversation, because Tim and his team did some work for the group. You know, they consolidated the list, they fine-tuned some of the headlines. So Tim, bro, you are, you know, an example of what being a mastermind participant is, and we'll bring you in the second half of the call. So Jen, why don't you put a little color around the comment that you put when I said, what is the topic? Or I asked for suggestions on topics today.
Yeah, sounds good. Can you guys hear me okay? For some reason, I'm only on speaker now instead of headset. Are you okay?
We hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you know, I was just sort of thinking back on, you know, our conversation several weeks ago when you all asked me to do a script. And Todd, I'm still waiting for a copy of my own transcript, by the way.
Oh, I've got it ready. I'll post it today. I apologize. I'll pull it up right after this.
Okay, no problem. But so what ended up happening is I have a new team member, and she said, you know, every time I talk to you, I learn so much, and you know, it's just amazing that you know how to say these things to people. And I started sort of coaching her on it, and thankfully she took notes. And it made me think that, you know, in order to create a script, it's not about using everybody's words, and we had addressed that a couple of weeks ago. It's not about using everybody's words, but maybe coming up with some catchphrases that lead you into scripting. So I wanted to just share a little bit about what I mean by this, and I know that once Todd shares the script, these phrases will be in there because I use them so frequently. But one is, an example is, with your permission, you know. And so what I meant by this type of scripting is being able to add each of these catchphrases to create a full sentence. So for example, with your permission, and the second one, assuming you're comfortable, would you be willing to? And those are three different catchphrases. With your permission, assuming you are comfortable, and would you be willing to? So for example, in a sentence, I would say with somebody, you know, with your permission and assuming you're comfortable, would you be willing to go to my website and fill out my application? Okay, your application. That's just a real simple one. With your permission, and you know, assuming you're comfortable, would you be, if I sent you an invite to my math class, would you be willing to share that with your colleagues? So my point being is that if we can come up with some catchphrases, and I've got, you know, a list of like 11 of them here, but if we can come up with some catchphrases that you can then combine these catchphrases into your scripting, I think that your scripting will be much easier, even as we're discussing all of these possible scripts that Dave is showing here, you know, about what to say to the borrower before you send the total cost analysis. So it's, again, you know, with your permission, and assuming you're comfortable with it, if I could have your email address, I would love to send you a total cost analysis. You know, That's what I'm talking about for creating a script, is creating these small catchphrases for you to grab and combine. It's like putting a piece of puzzle together, right? Just take this piece, that piece, and that piece and create a sentence from it.
So Jen, this is awesome, because really what you're doing is you're giving people transitional language and bridges that,
yes.
one, they're incredibly easy to remember, and they help bridge into deeper conversations. You call them catchphrases. By the way, I just created a post on our Facebook page called "What are your best catchphrases?"
Yeah.
So I'm going to make an ask to you, and then I'm going to make this ask to everybody, so that we can really organize these in a simple way. Don't just put all your catchphrases in one comment. If you could literally put a catchphrase, comment, catchphrase, comment, catchphrase, comment. And the reason that's valuable and a great way for us to collect them as a community, because two things can happen. One, people can like a comment. So like when someone makes a comment, you can be like, I like that. And you can even reply to it and have a conversation around that one comment. And so if you do this, Jen, first of all, great leadership for starting the conversation. If you'd be so kind as to, put in 11 comments if you have 11. And then if everybody else who has great transitional language, catchphrases, bridges, whatever you want to call them, put in your best one. And then I can, either me or someone who wants to volunteer can organize those into a Google Doc that we then make available to everyone. So Jen, I'll let you continue sharing some thoughts on it, but if you could make sure you respond to my what are the best catchphrases with 11 comments, and everybody else pile on. And then as a community, we will end up coming out of this conversation with something extraordinary. I mean, something that none of us could do on our own. It would be difficult to get a group like this together and do it, and we will really come out as something special. Are you cool with that, Jen?
Okay, so just so that I'm clear with this, because I don't see your catchphrases. I don't see your question catchphrases on the live site right now. So I just typed in with your permission, and then
So yeah, if you look on Todd's screen, I have a post where it says, "What is your best catchphrases?" And then, do you see that? And maybe you have to refresh your monitor.
I may have to refresh. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, refresh, and then each catchphrase is one comment, and then everybody else follows the leader.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, that's where I was really heading with this, and I think that this will build on. And thank you. I'm trying to create this thing by saying puzzles, and you always come up with the best words, with bridging the gap and transitional, and that's exactly what I was trying to say. But I think that if we're going to dive down this road of creating scripts, rather than having them be like that, let's find a way to use the catchphrase, go to the script, use another catchphrase, go to the script. And I really believe that's going to help people with all of their scripting. So I will definitely list all of those, and I just found that it was really helpful. And here's the end of the story for that, just so that I can finish up. The end of the story for that was that I was coaching my my assistant and talking with a listing agent for a reason or another. I can't remember what it was. And she used some of these catchphrases to engage with the listing agent to attend one of my math classes, and I don't even know who this woman is, right? And at the same time, she was able to book an appointment with me, or for me, with the listing agent, which isn't even part of our process until a little bit later in the process. But she called me and said, "Oh my gosh, I made an appointment and she's coming to the math class. I'm so excited." So just by using those catchphrases and spending maybe 5 minutes on the phone with her, someone who isn't a loan officer was able to do quite a bit, really win on something. So I wanted to give that as a gift to everybody so that we don't feel so bogged down by scripting.
Yeah, no, I think that is a great conversation. And I think when we do our script workshop, a full day on it, it's literally going to be half of it on catchphrases and half of it on full scripts, and who knows, it may even turn into more than one call. But
Yeah.
let's face it, the most productive loan officers, they have really efficient conversations with people where they're able to, really connect with people deeply in 15 to 30 minutes. And they do that because of the questions that they ask. They do that because of the catchphrases that they use. So I think this is a great topic for this venue. And Jen, you knocked it out of the park. I think that's awesome. Todd, anything you want to add on to what Jen just shared with us in the homework assignment that we kind of assigned to everybody?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that you heard Jen say she trained someone who's not a loan officer, right? So most, if you think through like behavioral patterns like DISC and stuff like that, most of our assistants and team members are not really super outgoing and salesy like we are. And so if you can actually use this to empower someone else on your team to be better in their conversations, think how huge it is then if you can you yourself integrate some of these into your conversations. I just, I love the idea. And I think that what I tend to find is that most of us have them, we just don't realize it. And then we use the same ones over and over again. And so this is just a great opportunity for you to integrate something that someone else in our fabulous community is having success with. So I see they're all flying in. So thanks, Jim, Sean, Tim, Lori, David, Jen, of course, rocking it. Keep them coming. That's awesome.
Yeah. So hey, thanks, Jen. And Michelle, anything you want to say to Jen, or anything you want to add on to this topic before we move on to another one?
Jen, I love you to death. I always use you in almost every interview. I think you mentioned that I do, because I always learn something from you when I listen to you. But I love the catchphrases. I love, with your permission, it seems to change the dialogue with the client. When you say with your permission, I don't know if you really listen to your client, there's a voice inflection that changes when they do that. They're like, oh, like they ask like, oh gosh, of course, and it's like, and I don't know if you've hooked them at that point, but you've created a great, cohesive relationship with them at that point. And I always use at the end, and I learned this a couple years ago, what my coach had told me, that I was a dictator not a dictator, a teller instead of a seller. And so what I had done was I switched my ending sentence to, please tell me your thoughts on the proposal. And it changed the client's experience as well when I asked them for their input on the experience.
That is so powerful. I mean, that is.
Be sure to take that in there for us, girl.
I will.
Hey, Dave. I see Steve Acuna has his hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead, Steve, and unmute you and hear what you have to say. Love seeing some hands up. Tim, I see yours up for when we get to later too. So thanks so much. But I'm unmuting you, Steve. All right, Steve, can you hear us? Steve, are you there? All right. Well, I will. I'm going to put your hand back down, Steve. When you can get your audio going, we will re-unmute you and bring you back in. So look forward to that. All right. Never mind. Take it away, Dave.
All right. No problem. Hey, no, good job. And folks, do raise your hand. If you raise your hand or ask a question, we want to serve you. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear here. If you have a catchphrase, add one at a time to comments. And then remember, group, let's pile on. Vote for the ones that you like best. And you can vote by liking it. And then, if there's one that you do, or there's something like that you play off, but you can reply to that specific comment. So again, this is a virtual mastermind, and we only really mastermind is if, one, Todd and I are able to unmute you. Two, you actually input something into our Facebook page, you vote for something on our Facebook page, or else you're just sitting on the sidelines listening in, which, by the way, that's fine. You are invited. We appreciate it. We want to, Todd and I do these calls, and the mentors that come here, we do it to make massive impact into our industry. So if you want to come and listen and watch and get value, but not participate, you are invited here. But I would tell you that the people that engage, that vote, that contribute, I believe get a better learning experience, create more change personally, and I can tell you absolutely create 3x value to this event. So Jen, thanks a lot. Do you have anything else to say before we transition to some other topics?
Nope, I sure don't, but thanks for all the feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for all the value you bring to this community, this call. All right. So keep it going on the catchphrases, everyone. Going back to the vote for best gifts, I would just say it's okay. Like we've gotten some contributions here, and I'm going to assume that some of you need to put a little more thought into it, and to actually multitask and add gifts and vote might be too big of an ask. But I certainly hope that you guys knock it out of the park, and that we get a good comprehensive list of our best gifts as a community, and that enough people vote so that the gifts that are really the best show up at the top of the list. So please, do your part and make sure we've got a great comprehensive list, and do your part by voting for the ones that you think are the best gifts for clients if you're trying to build a client for life. Todd, anything you want to say on that topic before we transition to YouTube videos?
No, I'm just digging all the people who are throwing their catchphrases on. You can see already that this list is really long, and there's lots of you. So that's super appreciated. Just keep it coming, and let's all learn from each other.
Love that. And Michelle, anything you want to add to gifts before we close that topic and we move on to another one?
Nothing at this point, Dave.
Got it. And does anyone want to raise their hand and ask about gifts, or raise their hand and talk about gifts? I'm going to give it going once, going twice, and then we're going to move topics. Todd, has anyone raised their hand about gifts?
Sadly, no. Sadly.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Amy Simmons has. Hang on. We're going to empower you, Amy. You are awesome, and I am unmuting you now.
Good morning.
Amy,
I just had
what is going on?
I just had a question about the Thanks a Latte gift. I love that idea, and I just wondered if anyone had sort of a resource for how to do that, and is it really a picture of you as a loan officer or their house? Whoever posted about that, I would love to hear more.
It's funny that you said that, because I think I put a comment saying, asking for a picture. So, Amy, if you could, it was Denise Donahue who posted that, who's just an exceptional mortgage professional, super successful. Put an ask in Facebook to get a picture of that and some color around it. And I will put a push to Denise, and I don't think she's on today's call, but we will get her as a guest in a call, because she's also a shining example of how to use social media to be super productive. So I will get her on a future call, and if you could put a push in Facebook, and we'll try to get more description around that for you.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, Amy, thanks for being such an active leader in this community.
I do think that there's some services out there like Vistaprint that does, they probably don't do the best one, is my guess. I probably shouldn't say that on a recorded thing, but I think if you Google custom coffee mugs, I think that there's a lot of opportunities out there, but I think it would be great to get Denise's, how she's using it, since she's such a marketing genius, and how she's actually positioning that with the client for sure.
Yeah, and you should follow Denise Donahue on Facebook. She's one of the people in the mortgage coach community when we want to talk about story, selling, influencing, showing up in a very compelling, inspiring, but also just very authentic way in social. She's absolutely an industry leader, and someone that anyone that wants to use social media, you should follow her as a shining example. All right. So let's transition to the YouTube video topics that came up last week. Todd, do you mind if we unmute Tim?
Mr. Lamb. All right, I'm going through the long list of attendees and unmuting you now.
All right, so let me tee it up. Tim, by the way, are you here? Can we hear you, just to make sure you're going to be able to talk?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So let me tee this up real quick. So for anybody that wasn't on last week's call, Tim had a topic, which, shining example of a participating leader on today's call. He asked the question of, what are some great YouTube videos to create? I want to build out my YouTube channel, and what are the topics? What questions should I answer? What kind of videos should I create? He asked that question, and then we riffed on it as a community. I posted a comment saying, hey, what are all the lists? And we got a very robust list. So everybody who participated knuckles, high five. And then I had put an ask out to the community. Would someone raise their hand and put that list together, organize it, so that we could make that into a best practice for the community? And Tim, graciously raised his hand. And Tim, if you could kind of report back to what you've done and what you've put together, and then let's talk about it.
Perfect, Doug. Hey, thanks for the community for helping me out with the project that I put on my plate to plan a lot of stuff here. So I guess my first thought was around this YouTube channel is I wanted to one time as many conversations as I could. That way I could direct, as an example, a first-time home buyer to answer the top 5 questions that I'm getting asked in every mortgage planning session. So what I was trying to do is be more efficient with my time and then have some information to share with the consumer before they met with me face-to-face. So that transfer of trust was done before I even got to meet with them face-to-face. So we put together that list. I don't know, Dave, if you were able to get that access to that list that I shared through the Google Docs or not. I am not a Google Doc guy, and I just tackled a Mac this week, so I'm having technology challenges for sure. So,
so Tim, I'm not in a place where I can share my desktop, and I do want to put that in a Google Doc. Would you be able to show what you created on your desktop if we gave you the ability to share your desktop right now?
I'm not at a spot where I can see my desktop either, Dave. I apologize.
All righty. Okay, so we may not be able to share this list with you live during the call, but what we will do is Tim is going to get that information to me so that I can share it with the community. And then also, I mean, Tim, it could be as easy as you just adding a post. Here's the list I created, and attaching an actual Word document, an Excel document. By the way, I would even urge you to do that because I can put it in the cloud in a way that is easily shareable. We know how to do that, and I do want to put it in the cloud in a way that's shareable so that the community can continue this conversation. They can add things. It could be edited by the group. But Tim, why don't you make a promise, if you're cool with it, by the end of the day that you're just going to put a post and you're going to attach your 2 documents. Is that something you're cool with?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. And my team took what we had started with on those conversations and then put together, I don't know, probably 30 videos that we want to put together specifically for ours. So there's lots of things that we came up with that wasn't on the initial group. So I'm looking forward to taking those 2 lists, merging them together, and even blowing it up even larger. So I will be happy to share that, Dave.
Yeah, and I am trying to do it now. It's just that for some reason the way you did it, I can't download, and it's not shareable. And I'm just not in a place where I can share my desktop. So sorry that we aren't able. I am still trying, and who knows? By the time this call is over, I might be able to figure it out. But so far, I have not been able to figure it out.
Do you want to send it to me, Dave, and I can try?
Well, the only problem, I'm going to do that, Todd, but the problem with that is I had to go through a couple email loops with Tim to get permission to view what he sent me. And so, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to send you something, and then you're going to have to go back and forth, and then I have a feeling you're going to end up with the same dead end that I ended up with.
Well, let's just paint a mental picture then for everyone. Keep going, Tim. You're doing awesome.
Perfect. So what we did is we took your guys' list, we put our list together, and I'll just riff off some of the items that we came up with as some of the video topics. Again, we're trying to be efficient with our time, get details put together for our consumers. So some of the things that we listed out was our advantage, why you would choose us over someone else, what to expect at your mortgage planning session. I call when I'm face-to-face with a consumer, a mortgage planning session, and I found that if I'm providing information up front, they know what to expect. So we're going to put a video together of what to expect at your mortgage planning session. We put together why a great lender makes a difference, what documentation that you need. Obviously, everyone's probably got their checklist of documentation, but I thought going more into detail so they're not bringing the wrong stuff initially would be huge. tips for preparing before you even come and buy a house. So 5 things to do with your credit was something that came up. We talked about comparing different loan types. So why choose a VA loan or FHA loan over a conventional type? Closing costs versus seller paid closing costs, how you can have your closing costs paid by the seller, PMI, giving a great scenario of what a loan estimate is, what a CD is, tax proration, just kind of like the laundry list of items that we had for all those questions that are asked for us daily.
I love it. I think that it's awesome because you're really going to arm the consumer to be better prepared for you. I love that whole idea of one-timing it, right? And I think most of you are familiar with what that means. And really, if you think about it, it's the some airplanes you get on and someone gets up and reads the little card, and the flight attendant stands up and they snap the seatbelt, and then they pull out the oxygen mask, and then you hop on the newer planes, and now they just drop the screens down and show you a video of it. So they're one-timing it so that they don't have to go through that. And so I think that that's going to be really huge. So what's the process, Tim, that you guys are laying out to implement this?
So an additional thing, Todd, before I move on to that is I want to have this as a source for my consumers as well as my real estate partners. So if they're sitting in an open house and someone wants to know what a bridge loan is, they can pull it up on their laptop right there at the open house, be able to transfer the trust to me at that open house, get that conversation started, get the answer to the question for the consumer, and then begin that conversation. So to be able to further that conversation at an open house or a listing appointment or something like that, so another value add there. So the step that I've taken so far is I've met with a company called here in town that builds videos, builds YouTube channels and so forth, and just put together my plan with them. And they kind of came up with some different numbers, and I don't know if you guys want to go into those details or not, but our plan is to shoot 10 to 15 of these videos next Friday at an open house at a model home. We've connected with a builder to do the shoot at a model home and then get 10 to 15 of these put together. So probably within the next month or so, we'll have a YouTube channel built with some content that'll be shareable and hopefully adding value to our partners as well as the consumers.
Wow, love it. Love it. My favorite thing you said was transfer the trust from the realtor to me, right? What a great way to empower them to make it easier to refer you. And most of them stink at that. So therefore, you're making it even easier for them to do it without actually trying.
That's our goal, Todd. That's our goal. Make it easy for them to get business to us.
I love that. Hey, I'm going to pause for 1 sec to answer a couple of the questions that are on here. Someone says they're having troubles finding the Facebook page. Just make sure you look up Insane Productivity with Mortgage Coach Mastermind. It's a private group, but Dave or I will let you in there. Katie wanted you to slow down, so it's a little late. Sorry about that, Katie, but definitely this will be posted up later today, and you can listen to it again. I'm sure that that'll be a big group there. I love the fact that, yes, sir.
Real quick, I did want to let you know that I was able to convert some of the documents into a PDF. I posted both of those PDFs. You would be able to download them now. I do want to let folks know that I'm gonna put these up temporarily just so we can facilitate this conversation a little more vividly. But we're gonna fine tune these a little bit and put them up in a collaborative way, and then take these down. So these will be up just really out throughout this call. Todd, you could go ahead and click on download and pull them up. It might help the conversation a little bit.
All right. I think, can you guys see it now? I tried to do it through Safari. Tim, can you see the screen? Can you tell me if it's up there now?
Yep, that's the list that my team and I put together for what we were planning on doing. Yep.
So I say there's a couple of things, right? First off, it is pretty amazing. I love that you categorized it, right? For those of you who aren't looking at the screen, right, there's the video topic, which I think is great, and those are going to be important, I think, as people start Googling these subjects, right? We all know that YouTube is owned by Google, and that's going to help. I love that you've got the cross categories so that you can put it in more than one. And then you were also kind enough to share your notes, and then you've got just another couple of points off to the side that you're working on where I can see that. And I think that as you guys are thinking about trying to replicate this, right, go back through the Facebook page, look at the big list, look at Tim's list, see what you would add or subtract. and then come up with it on your own. How much, Tim, did the people that you met with who are going to create this YouTube channel for you and help you record it, is it expensive? Is it inexpensive? What does that look like?
So they told me that we could probably get the first 15 videos done for about $2,500 and get them up on, and they're going to build a YouTube channel for me because I don't know anything about doing video or YouTube channels, so they're going to do that. And then as well as I told them Kelly Zitlow was my mentor, which I've never met or never talked to Kelly, but the way that she set up her channel and the way the thumbnails work and the way the ending of her videos work, they will put all of that together for me for $2,500. So probably 2/3 of this list will get done here in the next 3 weeks or so.
I think that's awesome. So I love that Kelly's your mentor. I know Kelly, and I view her as a mentor too. And again, she doesn't know it because I don't talk to her all the time. I just follow what she does, and I think that's one of the greatest things about this community. Did they give you any insight on how long each video should be, what you should target?
We talked a lot about that. So we said we're going to keep ours to 2 minutes, right around the 2-minute mark, because that's enough of a tidbit of content, but yet not too long. And we talked about having some professional stuff done and then having some organic stuff, me just sitting at my desk or me sitting out in the, wherever, to have a mix of professionally done stuff and some organic stuff, because people look for both of those as the information that they provided to me.
So organic will mean that you're not going to have a fancy intro and a fancy exit. It just kind of be like looking like you just flicked on the camera because you had an idea.
Yeah, I mean that's we utilize BombBomb a lot in our business now, so that's the natural organic, me sitting at my desk covering a topic or a specific thank you or whatever it may be, and then versus these that will be more of a professional, same background, perfect lighting, all that kind of fun stuff.
Huh. I love it. I love it because I think that's what a great strategy to implement. What do you think the timeline is going to be to roll it out? Are they going to have you come in and do it in one sitting or multiple sittings? What is it all going to look like?
Well, next Friday, we're going to try to knock out as many as we can. So if they're 2-minute videos, I'm fairly good on the camera thanks to Mortgage Coach and all the videos I've done with them. So hopefully we can knock out a bunch of them. So hopefully within the next 30 days, we'll have it up and running and have, 10 to 15 of those videos out there and ready to go.
I just love it. And so, kind of as I'm thinking, some of you are saying, gosh, there's just no way I can spend $2,500. But I think most of you could do the organic videos yourself, and you could get them posted and do a little bit of research on YouTube to get it up and running. And I think there's others of you who are thinking, gosh, you know what, maybe I can get my friend who's a marketing person to do it, and it might take you 2 or 3 months to do it. And, maybe you guys should consider finding a local expert who can get it done faster. Any thoughts, Dave?
No, I invited Kelly Zitlow to be our special guest on the 8th, which I think is the second Friday of September. So I have yet to, while there are folks that have great YouTube pages, everybody I know thinks she has the most polished, the most effective YouTube page as a mortgage coach professional out there. So she's going to come as the guest, and we're going to do a whole workshop on this. So I don't want to steal too much thunder from that. Other than the fact that I also think, and I urge people not to make, having a page that's like going to meet all of your goals is like an elephant, and it's just a big project. And the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So I urge anybody, create a YouTube video today, and maybe it's so bad that you don't even want to email it or share it to people, but you will be better because you did it. Pick a topic, of all the topics that you see Tim consolidated that you think would be most valuable, most relevant to your customers or prospects. I'm sitting in the car right now. Again, I wouldn't want to create something that I market and promote, but just the process of creating that video and recording it and saying it, it's like every time you do it, you get better. So I guess the only thing I would say, Todd, is one, we're going to have a big workshop on it, and we're going to crush it for everybody. But two, if you do have an ambition to upgrade your YouTube channel, create a video by Monday. No excuse not to. If you have a phone with a camera, there's no excuse that you could not create a video, whether or not it's something you want to share with clients or not. Those are my thoughts, Todd.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm thinking to myself, me, I always say get off this call and do it now. So I was already thinking, who's going to actually create a video today? You're much nicer than me. You gave till Monday. I'm kind of a jerk. I I make people jump through from an accountability perspective pretty quick. And number two is I almost love the idea of like, let's have a group. Let's do a video a day. Let's everyone commit, whether you pick Tim's list or your own list or the list that is in our private Facebook group. And why don't we get people starting to be brave, record 2 to 3 minute tops video. I think you could go 5 minutes, but I think what Tim said is correct. Most people lose interest after 2 minutes. And let's get some people posting their videos in the community, and I'll commit that I'll join in, and I will record videos, and I will start posting them starting Monday. I won't hold myself as accountable, as I said, only because I've got a commitment with my wife after this phone call, so I won't be able to jump off and do it, but I will make sure that I will play along with the community, and I will commit that Monday through Friday till I get them all done, that I'm going to start recording videos, and I will post my videos up to our group and share them, and you guys will see they're not going to be all that great, but I'm going to use Tim's word, they're going to be organic.
I love that.
I love it.
I love that. I love that because, you know, authenticity is what matters most. You know, I'm listening right now to a podcast. It's Tim Ferriss's podcast, but he's not the one doing the interview. I can't remember the guy who's doing the interview, but, you know, the guy who's doing the interview has an incredible story, but he's interviewing Larry King. You know, I don't think I need to, you know, tell everybody who Larry King is and all the accolades of what Larry King has, but, you know, there's a number of takeaways, but one of the biggest takeaways is, you know, you want to be a great interviewer. And by the way, you want to be a great salesperson. You want to be a great mortgage professional. Be yourself. Be authentic. So, you know, organic is just code for being yourself. And, you know, anytime you kind of well, I don't believe in over-preparing, but when you over-package things, you can lose your authentic self, you know, and it can really become, you know, agenda. It can really come across as this is mortgage sales guy trying to influence me into doing business with him, and that's it. But when people feel like, hey, this is an authentic person that I like, that I trust, you know, that's when magic happens. So, you know, authenticity, and I do think you need to start with something very organic to do that. So I can't wait to see what you come up with, Todd.
Well, you know, now I've put myself out there, so it'll be fun. It's been a while since I've done short hits, but I think that it'll be beneficial for me, and I'm planning on copying a bunch of you all, so I'm counting on you all to be posting some videos as well.
Beautiful. So Tim, I can't thank you enough for you to, one, you know, throw out a great topic. You know, that's the kind of leadership we want. And then for you to actually, you know, I mean, there's hours of work that you and your team put together here. Now let's, you know, some of those were things that you did for your own product, you know, for your own, you know, team and management. But to do that within the time frame for this group, to share that with the group, that is what makes this group awesome. So really appreciate you being a great leader in this group, brother. Anything else you want to add in today's call? We've got about 12 minutes left in the call. I want to bring Michelle Town in to comment, but anything else you want to say, Tim?
Just two additional things. As we started brainstorming of this, we're like, all right, why can't we take these videos and add them into our CRM and have an automatic drip campaign go out of video content to my Zillow leads or to loans that are in process and so forth. So it's much bigger than just having a YouTube channel with these videos into it. We're going to take this content and share it on Facebook and through our drip campaigns and through our Zillow leads and so forth. So don't think of it just as one video. You can multitask it throughout your whole process. And then the second thing that I want to bring up, and just go ahead, sorry, Dave.
Well, I wanted to make sure we make that actionable because, you know, what I heard you say is it made me think, you know, hey, you've got to have this great YouTube channel. You need to have this great content. And then you need to have a checklist that and now I have all this great content. How am I going to maximize it? How am I going to distribute it? You know, and sometimes it's one email to one family. And then to your point, there's a lot of other strategies. So, again, I don't want to over ask, and you can always say no. But let's start building out a checklist of, hey, you've got a great YouTube page. Now how do you make the most of that YouTube page? And again, this will all come to a crescendo on September 8th. One, as a group, we're participating, we're creating lists. Now we're going to create a checklist, and then we're going to bring Kelly in. And, we hope, who knows, it might turn into another week's worth of discussion, because we think Todd and I think this is an important foundation, an important success project for the most productive loan officer. So anyways, if you could just save that checklist as you go, brother. And go ahead.
I will do it.
I
was going to say, then also going along this video deals, why can't we do joint videos with your home inspector or your attorney or a moving company or a designer and those types of things, and be able to share that content through their entire network and just ask them simple questions. So what does a home inspector look for, or what are the top 3 things that you find on every home inspection, and why is it important? And let them answer 3 questions in 3 minutes, and have some content to be able to share not only with that professional, but your group and their group, and there could be some huge synergy that could be built off of that as well.
Bam. Yeah, no, fantastic. And you'll notice Kelly does that. She'll interview different people within the mortgage experience that are partners, and I am sure when we get her on the phone that she's got, not only is she creating great content with other leaders around the wealth team for a family, but she's got a distribution strategy around it. So I love that, Tim, and let's make sure we add on to the list and keep talking about it. Todd, anything else before we bring Michelle back in?
No, just gratitude. Thanks for your leadership, and really love it. I think Dave used the word participating leader, and I think we need people like you to make this call great. So really appreciate everything, Tim.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all the comments and the content, and the contribution from our group. We're awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, feel free to raise your hand again if something else comes up, and keep it coming, Tim. And all right. So, Michelle, Todd and I just did a lot of talking. Tim did a lot of talking. What does a $100 million a year producer think of all that?
A $100 million producer thinks the same way as any producer does. Is that that's an amazing idea. It's so funny because, Dave, I'm video averse, and I've been really working on getting past that. So I actually have my first professional interview on September 1st, and we're actually it's a 3-part video. So I'm going to be able to build my categories by 3. Hold on, my dogs are barking.
That's all right. We like dogs.
Yeah, we're doing one where we do first-time home buyers. Answer some of the 10 top key questions that a first-time home buyer does. The other one is going to be a video just about who is Michelle Town and her group, and then the other one is going to be realtor-centric on her. But the other thing that I did, because it takes me a while to get my nerve up to do my videos, is we contracted with live mailers, and we did and they'll be ready, I think, next week, and I'm happy to share them. We just did 3 live mailer pieces. One was about supplemental taxes, because that's coming up here in September for people in California, so that we can e-blast that out to everybody in our database that just closed the loan. The second one we did was why get pre-approved, and the third one we did was the process of the loan. And they're very short 1-minute videos, kind of caricatures to make it a little bit fun, that we are going to use as part of our campaigns as well. So what Tim said was great. Yeah, we're going to do a campaign just like he is send out a campaign to our Zillow buyers, to our people who haven't been pre-approved, give access to this to our realtors so that they can use it as well. And then we're going to do my plan is by the end of the year to have my video library set up. And I'm so interested to see Tim's content, and I'm so interested to hear Kelly's, because it will help me kind of dial in, because I'm like that elephant too. I have so many ideas and I don't know where to start.
Love it. Todd, any comments to that? I've got some closing thoughts, but anything you want to add on to that before we'll get into some closing thoughts?
Just a couple of comments. One, kudos to you for getting over your camera phobia. And 2, what's live mailer, in case I don't know exactly what you're talking about, maybe someone else doesn't as well.
Live mailers is it's a video, it's a 1-minute video, and it's done by caricature. So how you see people draw as they're writing through the caricature. It's that kind of done. So it's not a picture of me, which is fine with me. It's a picture of somebody drawing something like, here's what to expect on your supplemental taxes, and they explain it in a way that it's so simple that people are going to grab it. But it's livemailers.com, and they're pretty inexpensive, and they can get a basic video out for you within a week to two, so that you have something to start with. And I'm looking at it as a great script for me, so I can watch how that does, test it, beta test it, see how many people open it, get a feedback on it, and then when I do my live videos, I can take the feedback from there, and that way I'm using my money more wisely on my live videos, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. I love it too, because I congratulate you for getting over your phobia, but you actually have a cartoon going. That's okay. But I'm glad to hear you are still going to be doing live videos, so that I didn't just put my foot in my mouth.
Love it. So guys, we've got 5 more minutes. If you do have a question or a comment, feel free to throw it in. We may be able to get to it before the call's out, or we may throw it into a future week. Todd, if you could do me a favor, and if you could go to the YouTube page, I recently posted a question. It was based off of this week's call with Robert Stover. It was, basically I put an ask to the community that if you've had a breakthrough, past or present, something that you did in the past or something you're doing in the future, to share your comment. So if you could just scroll down, you'll see it.
Page?
Yeah, on the Facebook page. I'll tell you when to stop. When you get boom, right stop. Here? Yep. So this Tuesday, Robert was our guest. Robert is someone that I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in over years as a coach, a mentor, and a consultant. He's a marketing expert. But he's got a conversation that he had with the community this Tuesday around breakthroughs, and I don't have enough time to, if you don't know what a breakthrough means, I'm not going to explain it now, because we're going to have Robert as a guest next Friday. He'll define breakthrough, and he'll talk to you about how you could create and identify breakthroughs. But if you were on that call, or when I say breakthrough, you're like, I got a breakthrough, I do want to have some comments. And like Troy Root was on Tuesday's call, and Troy shared a breakthrough which was completely legit. I mean, it was like boom. Troy, if you don't mind reposting that in this community so that we can have a conversation around it. But I wanted to shine a light on it. I'm not really going to assign the homework that you've got to watch that video from last week, because Robert, he's not going to replay the call. But I would say that, if you were on that call Tuesday, 70% of it will be redundant. But we're going to have a conversation around breakthrough strategies next week. Robert will be our special guest. That will be the center point topic. And anybody who's had a breakthrough, or you're working on a breakthrough, please post in that. I would really appreciate it. One last closing thought, and then Todd, I'm going to give it to you for the last minute or two. This month, Tuesday, on Tuesday's call at Mortgage Coach, I'm going to have 2 top realtors on the call. One of them did over 150 transactions last year. It is trending 300 this year. Nicole Solari. There's been a number of interviews with her, so she's going to be on the call. And then I invited another top realtor. Nicole is West Coast Napa. I invited Tina Bellevue from the East Coast, out of Baltimore. Has done, her team does about 140 transactions a year, and she's actually building out team right now. So Tina's going to talk about Facebook strategies, because that's something she's an expert on, and built her real estate practice on Facebook. Nicole is going to focus on open house strategies, and then they both have done a masterful job of building team. So the 3 big topics are going to be open house, Facebook, team, and they're going to mastermind. So it's going to be, I'm facilitating a mastermind of 2, extraordinary realtors next Tuesday. I wanted to tee that up for this community, so that, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, come check it out. And then also, I consider this community kind of a insider group at Mortgage Coach that's more active than, let's just say the greater Mortgage Coach community. If you have a question that you want me to ask them, post it. I'm gonna put a thing. Do you have any questions for Tina or such and such? And if you have questions, put comments in. And you know, my promise to you is I will read it. I will seriously consider adding it to the deck. And so if you have a question for Tina or Nicole next week, let me know. And Todd, that was it for me. I'll let you close out the call.
All right, well, it is 10 o'clock, so I'm going to make this short and sweet. Number one, thanks again for all of you for being here, especially Tim for contributing to the community and being one of our participating leaders. Number two is I threw it out there that I'm going to be doing the video a day challenge, and I would love to get as many of you to jump in as we can, because ultimately in the end we got to make this actionable. And it's great that we all show up here for an hour every Friday and commit, but what is it we're going to do afterwards? And so there's no better time than now, right? Before you jump in your email, before you start returning text messages and listen to voicemails, record that video, take notes, look at this list while it's up here of what Tim's doing. Dave committed he's going to pull it down and make it in a different format that's easier for all of you. So take a couple of minutes, take a quick peek at that, but then be looking for that sometime next week. And ultimately continue to contribute to the surveys and the lists and everything that Dave has here in this community, because we need your input. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.